How you going, people? Well, this is a different shotgun, and I was thinking about putting some tung oil on this grip. This wood looks pretty nice, so I don't know if I want to put tung oil or not. What I did do is I put some of this mahogany finish oil, walnut oil on there, and I only did it on one side to see if you guys can see the difference. So the side I'm buffing, I put this mahogany wood on, and again, it hasn't dried overnight, so I don't know if it's going to get harder or buff up more throughout the night. It's only been on for about an hour. So this is the side with nothing on it. Damn, I'm getting that damn moving shadow again. I wonder if this light caused that. Let's try that one, see if that stops it. Still moving? Yep. Wow. That is a pain in the butt. Alright. So this is no oil. This is oil. Is there a difference? No oil. Regular finish. Walnut oil. Wiped off after an hour. This looks a little drier on the inside than this does to me. Is there a feel difference? Yeah, this feels a little more coarse and rough, and this feels much smoother. So, you know, oiling the wood usually is a good thing. If I was going to tung oil this, I would probably take this off. If you have one of these grips on here, they usually have holes at the bottom. You stick a screwdriver through, you unscrew it, and this butt pad will come off. It'll give you access to a bolt, and then you take it off and you can pull it completely off. So if I was going to tung oil this, I would probably pull this wood off. This comes off during the regular cleaning, so it's not a big deal. So I'm going to, and I've already done a 870 cleaning. This is the 870 Express, which to me is an 870. It's got this fancy, it's probably one of the newer ones, it's got this fancy little key, so you can stick a key in there and lock your safety. Don't ever use that key because you'll lose the key, and when you need it, you're screwed. So let's get the rounds out of here. Come on, baby. There's one round. There's 2 rounds. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the release so I can pull it back, and before it drops that round, I'm pushing this follower up so the bullet comes underneath the follower and drops out the bottom. And I can't tell if there's another one in there or not. There is. And I don't know if there's another one in there or not. There's not. Okay? So now we know it's empty, and I got my 4 rounds out. These are, I don't know what they are, I think they're double aught probably. What do they say? Expert steel shot. Oh no. 3-1, 1 3/8. So whatever the hell it is there. Take these off, pretty simple. Take the end cap off. You notice it comes off pretty easy, because it's probably cleaned in oil like it should be. Put your bolt back. That'll release your barrel. Now your barrel will come off because there's no cap here. Once your barrel comes off, you lay that down. This has a different end cap. Usually it's like a little pressure release. The last video I did was pressure. This one is different. You have to actually push it in and twist it. So it's got these little indentations here that when you push it in and twist it, it unlocks it. And now it comes out. So when you put it in and twist it, and then it locks on these little grooves. Okay? So you have to get it below, you get these things below these little grooves here. Alright? So this cap comes off, spring comes out, should be a follower. There's a plastic follower, some of them are metal. When you slide this forward, the bolt's going to stop right here. Reach underneath, press this little pin inside here this way, and then put your thumb and press that way on the inside. And once you do that, it should allow the bolt to come on out. When the bolt comes out, be ready for it to drop because it's only sitting on there very loosely. So unless you're very still, you're going to lose this. This comes off, and this comes off, and normally it falls off. So you want to remember how it fits on there. Long, short, fits right there. A lot of times over time, these things will get bent or loosen up, and it will sometimes fall through, and you'll have to readjust these little bars. This one fits pretty nice. It holds it pretty solid. A lot of them don't do that. This is pretty dry. I see a little bit of oil maybe on the side, but this feels pretty stinking dry. I don't think I've cleaned this sucker for ain't no telling how many years. So if I want to pull this off, remember I told you how to unscrew this cap and then this comes out. I'm not going to pull this out. I'm just going to give it an oiling. This gun is sitting in a place to where I can get to it. I'm not even really going to pull this out. So I'm just going to get me some Q-tips and some patches and go over this sucker and give it a cleaning after I get my gloves on. Rick, why didn't you get your gloves on before you started? Because I didn't. So I could have people ask in the comments and complain. Because people like to come here and just find something to complain about. Rick, why aren't your gloves matching? Because they're not. And you can complain about that too. Alrighty. I'm going to just use some of this brake free here. I haven't used my brake free in a long time. So I'm going to start using some of that. Since brake free is a CLP, cleaner, lubricant, and protectant, sometimes you'll get a little separation. So before you use it, you should probably give it a little rock and roll shake. I'm going to get this little black plastic. Notice there's something fuzzy in there. It's already dirty. I don't know what the hell that is. What the hell is that? I wonder if that's some sort of Q-tip from the last time I cleaned or something. Rick, you didn't even clean your gun. Now that's not going to make a malfunction. This is way down the follower. All this does is maintain your spring. So we're not talking, you could probably never clean this for the life of the shotgun and be okay. All it does is hold the spring so it doesn't shoot out. Not a real critical piece. This piece here, all it does is hold your end cap in. You don't want it coming off and lose it. Ooh, I got a little dirt off that bad boy. Woo! Guess this sucker did need a little cleaning. What's up with that? That's not good. Let me grab a little toothbrush here and give this bad boy a little shake. Grooves and like those areas with the little dots so you can grip it, good rust areas. If you neglect it because your fingers are always on it, when you put it together your fingers are on it. One of my t-shirts over here and just see what kind of stuff I get out of here. Oh, a little junky, not too much. Yeah, alrighty. So that piece is done. This little follower, again, all this does is keep your bullets, so when you're loading your bullets, you're pushing against this. So you're not pushing against the spring. So it keeps the spring off your bullets, and your first bullet fits in there and pushes in. The next bullet fits behind the first bullet and pushes in, and that's how it's loaded in a magazine too. Alright? So is that a critical area? Looks kind of dirty and dingy. Not really. As long as it's not sticking. That brown stuff tells me somebody probably used freaking WD-40 on this. You see this brown gunk crap on things that people use WD-40. Is that the end of the world? Is this Q-tip going to take it off? If it doesn't, I could probably scrub it off with maybe a little toothbrush and make it look nice and clean and new. Some of it might just be discoloration from muzzle blast when you shoot and fire. Almost all these shotguns, these 870s, I bought at pawn shops. They were projects. They were there for a while. I was able to talk the guy down for a good deal, and that's how I ended up with it. So I haven't bought any of my shotguns new. I'm not sure I've ever bought a shotgun new. All my shotguns are used. So now is what it looks like after it's clean. It's got a good little coat of oil on it. Can I put some more oil on it? It's plastic, so it's not really going to rust, but it's going to be rubbing against metal, which can rust. So put a little oil on it, no big deal. This little piece looks pretty freaking clean. I'm not seeing anything really in here. If I saw something that really needed, I'd take a little piece of this steel wool. You can see what the bottom looks like now. Put some oil on it. I'm going to hit it with some oil and put some steel wool on it, see if it changes. That's what it looks like now. Just so you can tell how steel wool just really gets rid of anything. This is 4/0 steel wool. And I'm just circling around, giving a little polish, and once over, now look at it. That's before I wiped it down. I can see the difference. I don't know if you can see the difference in this camera, but it removed some stuff and made it nice and smooth now. If there was any rust, that steel wool just knocked it right off. So I'll go ahead and hit these corners with the steel wool in the top. Is this needed? No. Is this going to hurt anything? It may remove any little surface rust that I don't see. Maybe I'll get some oil in there and it won't rust. But when I clean the shotgun, I could go park it for freaking 5-6 years and it would still be functional. Might have some rust on the outside depending on what kind of condition you put it in. So I want to make sure and get these, again, you can rub your fingers on this, but I can't really get in these corners. So anytime I get corners, I want to get in there with a Q-tip. Little holes, edges. So even though I cleaned this, that Q-tip still picked up some things from these corners that you really have to get in. Alrighty. So that piece is done. Does it look different? Rick, it looks the same. Alright, whatever. I feel better. I feel like it looks different. This thing looks pretty good except for it being dry. It might be a little wet because of my fingers. I don't know if there's a little rust on there, if it was coating. It's your extractor. I always want to check that to make sure it moves. I want to get some oil in that little spring. There's a little spring that goes down. I want to make sure and get a little drop of oil in there. I don't want that rusting to where it doesn't eject. The face of the bolt gets kind of rough sometime. I want to make sure that's kind of clean and good. I'll hit that with a little steel wool. Hit the outside with just a brush off. And you can tell I'm not doing much with this steel wool. Some people would say I'm doing nothing. But I'm going to get a good coat of oil on this. A drop. Oil it up. Want to get a drop of oil down that little spring area that I told you where the ejector, and I'm going to work that ejector with that oil in there. Make sure it gets good down in there, gets the spring real nice and good. Put another drop of oil in there. That seemed to soak it up pretty good. I can feel the ejector got softer as I did this. It was a little rougher when I started. Feels a little better. So I can't really get in here in a lot of these places. This is where a Q-tip comes in with some oil. Get all these corners. Get that firing pin spring. That little spring in there will end up being a pain. Probably when I bought this, I pulled this completely apart and gave it a good once over. I'm still getting a little dirt that I don't really like. So it tells me it was not as clean as I thought it was. Really dirty. Nasty. Bad. Bad gun owner. Alright. That just tells me I need to be a little bit more detailed to make sure I get a good coat on some things in here, because obviously I have missed. This little track right here, always make sure you get in there and go up there, that little track. That gets the underside of that pin right there. This part right here seems to be where I'm getting the most dirt, in this little corner back here. Right there. Really getting a lot more dirt in there than I wanted. Okay. So that got a good little coat of oil. Looks good. My spring. I don't see any rust, and I'm pretty sure I did the patch twist before. But I will do a patch twist again. Put a little oil on there. Run it through. Twist this till it goes all the way around. It's getting shorter. These are big grooves, so it goes pretty quick. And I got a little bit of things off there, so I'm glad I did that. Put another drop of oil on there. Start about where I did again. Wrap that around and pull it, and now twist the other way. Now I know I'm getting that spring full 360 with oil, patch, rubbing off dust, dirt. Did this with my M1 Grand spring, and that spring is tight. Got a pretty good bit of dirt off there, a lot more than I was expecting. So this gun has been sitting around for a good, you know, probably 4, 5, 6 years. I'm going to use this patch to go ahead and see if I get any surface rust off this thing right here. Didn't get surface rust, but I sure did get some dirt, didn't I? Wow. I got some surface rust off this, which I didn't like. So because of that, I'm seeing this patch right here get a little surface rust. This tube's coming out. So there's 2 little grooves in there. If you had the right tool, you stick it in there with 2 prongs and you twist it. You can use a screwdriver. It's not tight, and it's not. It just moved. So I'm just taking a screwdriver in here and twisting it around. If it's really tight, what I've done before is I use this as my 2 prongs, and I open this up right in those little grooves. And then I can spin this to get it started. That gives me more leverage. But this one looks like, which tells me I probably took it off if it's coming off this easy. But I didn't like the surface rust I got off there. So now I'm just kind of finished spinning it with my finger. There we go. Looks like there's a little rust sitting right there. It was underneath by the wood. Glad I pulled that off. So now pulling this out is very tricky. It's locked in right here, so you can't really twist it back and forth, and people will bend and pull these. So be very careful when you pull these off. You really want to pull in an equal distance without bending these, just enough to get torque, and get this out of here. So this wood doesn't have any treatment on the inside. If I was going to put some tung oil on this, I would do the inside of this wood, which would make this tighter to get in and out. But this wood is like untreated, and I don't like untreated wood like that. You know, the manufacturer or skimping, they treat it and stain the outside, and they didn't do shit on the inside, which is kind of BS to me. But let me get me a clean patch here so I can see how much rust or dirt I'm getting off here. Alright, clean patch. I want to get this tube and see what kind of rust we're looking at, if any. Give that oil a chance to get in on the first pass. Loosen up anything. Look at that. Nasty! Nasty, nasty, nasty. Ah! I don't like seeing this surface rust on my guns. That's why you have to stay up on it. People are like, you know, oh, I haven't shot it, it's in the safe, it's got a thing. I mean, this isn't in a safe, it's not in a heated environment, but still, guns just, I mean, you know, two worst things for guns, politicians and rust. I mean, it's just the way it is. So if I got that much on the outside, what do you think I'm going to get on the inside? Almost more dirt than rust. That looks like dirt than rust. I'm going to flip this over. Put a little more oil on here. Now because I know how far my finger went in, I know I'm getting halfway. So I need to get the other side. Okay, so we'll look down there. I didn't look down it before, but it should be nice and clean now. Looks pretty good. Man, I hate having a patch look like this. Very, very bad juju. Put a little oil on there, and I'm going to let this soak in, and I'm going to give it a wipe down again. I'm going to let all this oil just kind of get on in there. I'm going to take steel wool. I don't know if you can see on these grooves. It looks like there's a little crap in the grooves a little bit. So I'm just going to grab this steel wool on here, and I'm just going to give this a little twist. The steel wool ain't going to mess up those threads, but it will loosen up anything in there that might be causing issues. Alrighty, got a lot of fuzz on there now from that cloth, but I'll take a little oil fuzz over, this will remove any of that cloth. Then I'll use a t-shirt here that's not gonna, so much cleaner. I still got a little junk off there that I didn't like. So again, I'm going to oil this up and leave a little oil to set in on here. Now see, these were kind of tucked under, so I didn't get this part up here. And I really didn't get a whole bunch more off there. So again, I'm going to get some oil on these and oil all over this, and we're just going to let this sit there and absorb that healing oil. So this is what had a little rust on the outside, which means probably has a little rust on the inside on those threads. So I definitely want to get in here and get some oil in here. I could probably steel wool the inside of this. I'm going to see what my patch looks like when I put a patch to there. First I'll do a piece of cloth. That looks like more dirt than rust. See that little rust right there? It's almost pitting. Watch what that steel wool does to that. Put a little oil on that. Hit it with the steel wool. You can tell it's kind of dulling it away a little bit. Now instead of rust, got it down to that metal so I can oil it. That rust is gone. So, good deal I caught this. I wasn't even going to do this sucker because it was kind of like, it's sitting up there. It looks all pretty on the outside. I was like, why mess with it? Let's get this metal tube where everything's wrapped around it. Get some oil in there sitting. I should have oiled it up before I even started, so this oil would start soaking in and loosening up any of that maybe rust that's in there. So I'm going to go ahead and give this whole thing a little oil bath here. I can almost see a little bit of rust or something right here, discoloration. I don't know if that's going to come off or not, but we'll see. I wasn't going to pull out my charging handle, but I am now. So I hope that these pins don't pop out, because they are such a pain in the butt. I think I got to go on the one way. That one came out. That one came out. Pin looks pretty good. Look at your pins, and if they're not rusty when they're coming out, looks like it's got a good coat of oil on it, probably looks pretty good in there. That's a good indicator for me. This thing's kind of hard to punch out here, so I'm going to give it a little tap. I got it. Man, this thing just fell out. Now, I think my other one was steel. This one might be plastic. I don't know what this one is. But it looks pretty freaking clean. So obviously, I have cleaned this. And hammer and everything looks good. But, looks a little dry. We'll get a little oil on it. And I'll run a little patch on the inside here. See what comes out just with a dry patch on the inside. Little dirt. Maybe I shot this and forgot. I mean, if I put a couple rounds to it, that's a lot of dirt. So I'm not happy with that. Because there's dirt in there, I'm going to get some of this rim oil and give that a good... and let this just dissolve some of this. I'm going to end up running a patch down through here. So we'll let that rim oil set on that. I've got the break free on the outside. Go ahead and put a coat on these pins so they can kind of start soaking in. And this is the last piece I got to do. Shotgun. What does the barrel look like? I can't see down there. Is it clean? I can't tell. It's been sitting there for a long time. Looks clean, but it looks dry. So I'm going to get a patch down that, and then we'll put it back together. How we doing, gun people? Anybody learning any damn thing? Let me see with this tube. I haven't cleaned this tube yet to see if there was any rust on there. Remember, I just put some oil on there, let it set for about 5 minutes while I was doing some other things. Let's see what that oil broke up. Ah! Oh! My God! That's freaking disgusting. I'm embarrassed. I shouldn't even upload this video. Holy shit! That's nasty! Nasty, nasty, nasty! Yeah, I'm going to get some more oil on there. And we're going to do that again. So that's why, even though it looks clean, I mean, that's why some guys be like, man, I haven't cleaned my gun in a couple years, but they look good. Dude, you can't go by looks. Okay, got a good coat of oil on there. Get some of these tools back out of the way that I'm not using. Let me clean the inside of this. Kind of semi-clean t-shirt here. We'll get on the inside here. Not too bad. A little more than I like. That's kind of bad. But, you know what? That's why you clean. That's why even if a gun looks good, you have to give it a cleaning whether it needs it or not. You got to clean the pipes every once in a while, gun people. So man, that oil just got sucked into that metal. Do you see that? That oil just almost disappeared. Tells me it was really dry. No rust. So the oil went in there, but I didn't get a lot of nasty off it, which is good. I still don't like the way this looks on top here. I'm gonna put a little oil here. Can y'all see those little lines that I'm seeing? It doesn't look like, it almost looks like there might be some little rust in there. So I'm going to hit this with this steel wool. See if it moves that, because I just don't like the way that looks. And then once I hit it with the steel wool, when I wipe it off, I'll know if that was a little rust. Get a clean rag right there. Look at all that crap that came off there from that steel wool. Wow! So that was rust. It still has the little lines in it. I don't know if that's coming out for you guys. But man, that steel wool got a lot of shit off. Now remember, I cleaned, clean rag, other side, nothing. Oh well. Steel wool. I'm not pressing hard, it's very light. Clean rag. Look at that. Man! Woo, doggies. I do not like seeing that on my guns, but you know what? That's why I'm doing it. That just doesn't look good to me. Much better. Much, much better. So that first oiling, letting it set, got the top stuff off. When I did it again, I don't know if you can tell how this tube looks. It just looks cleaner. Looks more like a unmarred coating or finish. Alrighty. So I'm going to get some Q-tips inside here with some of this brake free. And I'm just going to rub that brake free around everywhere. And hopefully we will prevent some of this rusting. These pins inside here must be tack welded good because they are not popping out. So that patch still removed a lot even though I wiped it down. Put a little more rim oil in there. Make me a little pool, 4 or 5 drops. and then get my Q-tip full of that, and then do some rubbing around there. Whew! This thing was a little longer than I expected. But, well worth it for me. I feel a lot better. In case I missed anything in there, put some on the outside to let that go ahead and continue to soak in. I removed it with the steel wool. Some dude made a comment, dude, I use less oil to change the oil on my car. People are so freaking paranoid about excess oiling, and I'm telling you people, it just isn't an issue. It is so much better for your gun to be over-oiled than under-oiled. I mean, there's just no comparison. And I did that video where I literally dunked my freaking Glock in a bucket of oil, and it was dripping oil everywhere, and I fired it to show that too much oil ain't gonna hurt you. I mean, nobody puts that much oil, and I just did an over-exaggeration of it to demonstrate that. But there were still people, well, it's not the oil that causes it, it collects. Look, unless you're shooting 1,000 rounds and you're not cleaning your gun, you're not going to collect enough dirt in 1,000 rounds with this oil to cause a malfunction. Not on a shotgun. Maybe in a 5.56, maybe. But I don't even know if I remember ever freaking any of my 5.56 not working. Okay, so now I'm happy with this. I didn't really do anything on here, so I'm going to get a Q-tip on see, I always want to make these short videos and think they're going to be easy. And then I get into this. Now this is the tubes where the pins go. And I don't like that. So these tubes are a lot of time not cleaned. You stick your pin in there and then they're neglected. Kind of like this one. And I got a lot of dirt that I didn't like. But that's alright. Now I have the I've got the top dirt off. Put some oil in there. Get some oil on here. This little plunger right here, you see when you push this, how that pushes that plunger down? So I want to put some oil on there and then work this plunger. That way I know I don't have to take apart the plunger, but I'm actually getting oil down when this plunger goes. That oil is following and seeping in, and it's going down to the spring. Okay? I got a little dirt off there. I must have missed that spot. I don't. Oh, there's another little plunger. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so I showed you this plunger right here for this pin, right? There's a second little plunger right here. See that little plunger? So I got to get a drop of oil on there and work that like that so that oil will drop down in there. Oh yeah, it's even running smoother. Hell, I think I see a smile. It's kind of like, dude, that feels good. Ooh, yeah. A clean gun is a happy gun. Okay, so this is done now, and I can slide this back in. Since I took it out when it was cocked, I'm putting it back in when it's cocked. I can slide this back in here. Hopefully it goes in as easy as it came out, because it came out pretty freaking easy. Pretty nice. Holes lined right up. Wow. Gotta love it. I love it when a plan comes together. You know what? Try this from the other side. Oh, went in much easier, huh? Nice. Nice. Oh, yeah. All that oil is already sucked in. I'm going to oil it again. Rick, metal doesn't absorb. It's not like cloth. Yeah, well, okay. You believe that shit. That trigger, I didn't really clean the back of that trigger. That's another neglected area on a lot of gun cleaning. Is nobody gets behind that trigger and its neglected area. Look at that, got a little rust off it. Alrighty. Safety, which I never use, but I still go ahead and oil it up, put it on. Remember, that's like a plunger, comes in and out. So I'm going to put some oil on there and work it. So the oil went in it. Go to the other side, same way. Put a drop of oil on there and work it. Any areas that you can't get to. Now I always want red for fire because I keep my guns on fire. So this is done. Man, this thing's coming along, baby. All I got is this barrel. Did we already show the barrel? What the hell did the barrel look like? Did I say what it looked like? Yeah, I thought it looked a little not as good as it should. A little dry. But other than that, I didn't put any oil on the outside to let it. Now this is what's called a rib barrel. It's got a rib on it. It's supposed to make it more line of sight. It's supposed to firm up the barrel so you get less wobble and bend. Rib barrels are usually more sought after, but they are a pain in the butt to clean between those ribs. And they will always rust because you can damn near hardly get anything in between there. Very, very difficult to clean in between there. You can slide a piece of cloth through it with some oil and do it. You can put a Q-tip sometimes. Most times you got to use a pipe cleaner with oil and go in and out, back and forth. So rib barrels are cool, but they will rust. Okay, I got a coat of oil on that outside there. I should have done this when I first started. When you have a dry gun, when you get a new gun and it's dry, first thing I do, coat it down with oil and let it set overnight and just let it soak in all that oil and juices and lifeblood. That's why I tell people, when you get a gun from me, man, you get a better gun you get from the manufacturer, because I go through that sucker. And I absolutely know. So I'm putting a little drop of oil in front of each of these ribs, and then I'm going to get this thing here, rub it in the oil, and then try if I can get it through these ribs. Some of them I can get through, some I can't. And this thing is probably going to get dirty fast. Not too bad. Getting dirtier. Everybody keeps telling me I need a sonic cleaner. I have cleaned guns after they come out of a sonic cleaner, and I got a lot of dirt off them. So a sonic cleaner may be good for areas you can't get to, and it may get some of that junk inside there, but By no means do I think a gun is clean once it comes out of Sonic Cleaner. If you take your gun to a gun store and they're telling you, we got a Sonic Cleaner, blah, blah, what they're doing is they're throwing that gun at Sonic Cleaner, they let it drain and dry, and they put it back together and maybe put a little oil on it. If you take that gun home afterwards and you clean it like I'm cleaning it, you're going to get dirt. And people are like, man, you need a Sonic Cleaner. Sonic Cleaner may be nice for trigger mechanisms, things that have a whole bunch of things that you don't take completely apart. It can kind of seep in there and vibrate out some dirt, but I do not think they are good cleaners. And I know I'm going to get somebody who loves theirs and swears by it. Damn, that oil is just disappearing left and right fast. I mean, I can barely keep this thing oiled. Now see, it's not really going in on this barrel that much. It's still staying on the barrel, but on this porous slide here, man, it just keeps disappearing on me. I mean, it just literally just soaks in and is gone like I didn't put anything on it. Alright, so that's on there. I haven't done anything for the barrel yet. I'm going to cut me a little patch for this barrel so it'll be nice. I don't have to cut this. I might be able to just shove this in there. I'm going to get me, I'm just going to shove this right over this patch here and see what I get. Now this is where spray stuff comes in. I can spray some of this rim oil. I'm telling you, man, this rim oil does so shitty on so many tests. Do not just use this as your oil, because the rust stuff that I mean, it almost like it starts freaking rust. So I'm just going to shove this through there if I can. Did I make it too fat? I did. You know it's too fat when you poke a hole in it. Oh, I didn't poke a hole. Maybe I just didn't have it centered. Let's try that again. Shit, didn't have it centered again. Damn it. Alright. Okay, so this one's a little too big, so I need to cut that down to get it in there. It's a little too fat. So I can either cut it down or make it longer to where now it's not quite as thick. Let's try it that way. Still might be too thick. It is. So I need to cut this and get some of the mass off it. So I'll cut it in half. And make this my patch. See how that works. See if that goes in pretty easy. Woo, man, that was tough to get in. Alright, so I'm just going to shove that all the way through. See what it looks like coming out. So this is how it came out. Not too bad. See what it looks like. Nah. Looks okay. I mean, it's a barrel. It's going to get cleaned out. You can kind of look down there and see what it looks like, I guess, a little bit. Can you see down there? I would rather that be a little bit more spotty or spotless and clean, but I'm going to go ahead and accept that. It's a shotgun. I'll probably pay $350 for this. Sitting around. Got a good coat of oil. Now, this is the part that I can't get to, so I'm going to wipe this off and make sure I don't have any, see if I'm getting any rust off this back area. Little bit, not a lot. So, give the whole thing a wipe down, then I'm going to put another coat of oil on it. Not too bad. Notice how dry it is? All that oil just kind of soaked in and went away. So when I put this up, see, you think this oil, people think this oil is like, oh my God, this is going to soak in over a few days just like it's soaking in a few minutes here. So it's not going to stay this wet. But, hey, to each his own. Do your gun the way you want. Alright, so I got oil on here, I got oil inside here, I got oil on these. This should be ready to go back in. Oh, this got to go in the wood. So I have to put this back in this wood like so. It's got to connect right up there and fit right in there, so you might have to twist it a little bit. There you go, that's snapped in. That makes my things there. I already cleaned this sucker. This goes in one way because you got to be able to unscrew it or screw it in, so this has to go in this way. You won't be able to screw it or do anything if you put it the other way. So you drop that down in there, and I'm going to reverse to make sure I don't cross thread, and then go back the other way and see if I hook in. I did. It's going down. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now I'm going to get my screwdriver and just start doing some half turns. Okay, so I can't turn it anymore with the screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and put this in there and open it up, and then twist it. And that got it good and tight. Doesn't have to be super tight, but it's in there good. Okay? So now this is back together. This will go over here like so. Make sure these line up right here. I need to get this little piece back in here, setting in this little spot. There it sets. This needs to set back on top of it like so. Goes in there halfway till it stops. Now I got to reach underneath and press this little release. Oh shit. Press a little release, it should go in. Press it on the other side. And we're having a function here. And I'm not sure why. Because this should just be sliding right in. Can't get this second release. It feels pretty tight. There we go. I had to pull it out a little bit in order to let it go in. Once that goes in, it locks in place. Press your release so it can go all the way back. Goes back. Now we're going to put in my spring and my follower. This has to go in first so it hits the bullets when it comes in. Remember I showed you bullets, so that goes in first. Down it goes. Spring goes in next. Both these end springs are finished, so it doesn't matter which way it goes in. If one was unfinished, I would want the unfinished end probably inside that cap. But they're both finished ends. So that's there. Put this back on here. I have to push down and twist it once it's in. So it'll go in, and then I need to twist it once it's in. So it won't go any further here till I get to the right point. I got to spin it. Now it went in. Once it goes in, I keep spinning it till it pops back out right there and it stays. And now it doesn't come out. So now I know it's correct. That's right there. Slide the old barrel on. Make sure your back area is in. Back here. That slides on like so. My end cap. Finger tight. If you want it tighter, push down on the barrel here and you might be able to get another twist. I didn't, it's pretty tight. Now function check it. Slide works good. Make sure it's empty. I'm going to slide it forward. Squeeze the trigger, hold the trigger back, recock it, listen for the trigger reset. There's my trigger reset. It should fire again, and it fired again. I know it's working. I pull the trigger, therefore now I load it, and I am good to go. And this little project is done. In case somebody's never loaded one of these, get that in there. So you take it, obviously the firing pin's got to be facing away, the bullet's going to come out there, so this goes down the barrel. You push in this little follower here, it exposes that other round that I've already loaded. So you just push in and push down. As you're pushing down, it will lock, and it locks it in there and kicks it. So you can see it in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's hard to tell. But anyway, that's how you load it. So it's got 4 rounds. I know it's not on safe because I just pulled the trigger. I know the trigger can't be pulled because I've already pulled it. So even if there's a round happens to be in a chamber, somebody to like, but wants to get around the chamber, it cocks it, so then it will pull. But what the hell is that stuff? Oh, looks like I got a couple of white specks there. Alrighty, and that oil is already soaked in that again. Wow. So you saw when I took this apart how dry it was? Well, you know what? All this oil kind of soaked back in there now. And that should be a good lesson. Let's take a look at this slide here and see if this looks any different. So this is no oil. This is oil. No oil. Oil. Is there a difference? You guys be the judge. I'm going to go ahead and slide a little bit of that oil. When I do this, I just, instead of cutting this cap, because this never seals good, and it won't do it, so instead of cutting this, I just leave this closed to where the cap stays on and it's closed, and then I use this to unscrew it. And because oxygen is a problem for things that dry hard or harden as they dry, when I open this, you're going to notice the bottle is kind of sunken in there, and I squeezed all the air out. So when I open this, it's going to let air in. See that big bubble right there now? That wasn't there before? Because I had squeezed that out when I closed it. So I take this off, and then I'll just put my finger over here and I'll put the oil. And I'll oil this, and then I'll put this cap back on, and I'll squeeze the air out. Because oxygen does bad things to certain things. Alright? So y'all don't need to watch me just spread some oil on there, and we'll end that there. Damn, that probably went a long time. Alright, y'all have a good one. 870 Express.